I have been goofing around on Audible because I reactivated my subscription because I was looking for a few things. And
yeah, man.
Based on Nacho Man's recommendation from our Discord, I listened to the audio drama of William Gibson's script for Alien 3.
Oh, shit,
Ooh.
really? Oh, shit. I've been eyeballing this for ages. Please tell me it's good.
It's fucking outstanding.
Yes! Yes! Yes, it's been on my wish list. Oh, I'm fucking going to purchase that today.
It's if you've got the Audible subscription, you can just listen to it. You don't need to buy it.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
I've got the subscription. Oh, fuck.
So
Downloading now.
Yeah, so it's not an audiobook, it's an audio drama. It's directed by the best looking guy in audio dramas, which is Dirk Maggs. Seriously, Google him. He has the most amazing mullet.
Beautiful bloke.
Yeah. And it stars Lance Henriksen and Michael Biehn.
Does it?
Yeah.
They're proper in it.
Yeah, probably. There's a few other cast members, but essentially, so if you don't know the kind of the torrid tale of Alien 3, is because Alien 3, the film, is not very good.
And they kill the characters off.
It's not the worst Alien film because Ridley Scott's managed to plumb a whole new depths of that. But for the longest time, it was the worst Alien film. And that was because, it was David Fincher's first film. There was a lot of studio interference, a lot of fucking around. Scripts got back and forth and all that. But one of the biggest issues with the Alien 3 that we got was that they killed... So at the end of Aliens, they escape from LV-426. And everything is... They go into hypersleep and everything's supposed to be fine. In the Alien 3 film that we got, they kill off 3 of the main characters. They kill off Bishop, they kill off Hicks, and they kill off Newt off screen.
Which makes everything from Alien 2 pointless.
Yeah. And then Ripley wakes up on this prison planet that they've crash landed on, and somehow there is a xenomorph there, and it doesn't explain how a xenomorph got onto the Sulaco when they were escaping, because the whole thing was nuking it from orbit because it's the only way to be sure. That was the whole thing in their escape. And then the fight with the alien queen on the ship itself. But it was the aliens was set up to be that no, there were no aliens on board the ship when they got away. So that was kind of the biggest plot points. And also just the film wasn't very good. Lots of kind of off-screen deaths and shit like that. It was poor. So one of the original scripts for it was written by William Gibson, who is a very famous cyberpunk author. He created the Neuromancer series, which were kind of some of the progenitors to the cyberpunk concept. And he wrote this script in 1988. And 20th Century Fox just said no. And he did a second version in 89, and they said no. And then we got the bullshit that we got in the mid-90s. William Gibson's version is fucking incredible because it basically very, very much the same with the Aliens follows directly on from Alien. This follows on directly, but an even closer time frame because it starts off with the Sulaco being found, much in the same way that Aliens starts off with Ripley being found drifting in space. It expands the universe, so you get so whereas the first two films were very focused around kind of Weyland-Yutani operations, this brings in people like the UPP, who are another faction who are very, very much socialist and anti-capitalist, and they'll play it very Russian and Chinese, weirdly enough, for something written in the late 80s. But it expands the lore of the aliens themselves. It kind of gives you an explanation of how a xenomorph might have gotten away from LV-426. The way it's explained is, Bishop gets torn in half at the end of Aliens. The explanation is that the Queen, because it's the Queen tearing him in half, the Queen lays an egg in him. Because he's not biological, it can't really kind of grow in him. But when someone opens up the stasis pod, facehugger jumps out. That's how shit starts to kick off.
I read this script last year when the book came out. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really good. You get more kind of ideas on kind of like more explanation of kind of how the aliens reproduce, where the queens come from. You get the first introduction of the hybrids, which kind of Ridley Scott played with a little bit in Prometheus. And then
the deacons.
Yeah, and then which then became the abominations, kind of further into alien lore and into the alien role-playing game and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that gets put into the expanded universe of Alien comes from this. You get a lot more focus on Hicks and Newt as two characters. Hicks takes on A bit like Ripley took on a very maternal role with Newt, Hicks takes on quite a paternal role with her and is quite kind of protective of her. The big focus on this one, I think this is why 20th Century Fox didn't take it on, it is not focused around Ripley. Ripley is alive in it, but she spends most of it
she's not the main character.
She's not the main character. She kind of spends most of it in kind of a medically induced coma because she gets injured at one point. And that works for me because the first two films, everything is seen through Ripley's eyes. It works really well in the first film because she is as scared as the rest of us. In the second film, she's the expert, but then she becomes kind of a gun-toting badass, which I think I know she's supposed to be badass, but I don't think that kind of worked for Ripley because she was supposed to be a space trucker. She's not a soldier.
Get your hands off of you, bitch.
Yeah, which, I mean, I did like that, the way she deals with the alien queen is using a loader that she would have known how to use. But that kind of thing. But she's not
a license for it.
Yeah, she's not a colonial marine. She's not for the shooty bang bang. Well, that's what she shouldn't be. So the fact that it takes the story away from her and puts it onto Hicks and to Bishop, it gives it a bit of a wider scope, and it allows William Gibson to kind of expand the lore and expand the concepts and give you a bit more of it. Like one of the ideas Gibson puts forward is that the aliens were created as a weapon. Which Ridley Scott kind of played with in Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
He fucked it up,
but not very well. Whereas like the details in this one of how they would be a weapon and how they would come to be as an hypothesis of the scientists in this one works. And then there's the concept of like the airborne spores, which is what become the abominations in Prometheus, and all that kind of thing. And and it kind of widens out and widens out. So a lot of the ideas that Gibson put in have made their way into the Alien franchise over the years, but 20th Century Fox fucked him over. They should have used this film. It is so much better than the Alien 3 we got.
Oh, when I read that script, I'm sure I mentioned it on the podcast, but only fleetingly. I was just like, what? Why? Why not? Why is this so much better? And because obviously I know the characters are made from the films, I'm reading it in my head as those. So if these guys are actually acting it out in the audio,
yeah, they are.
I can't wait.
The woman that they've got to play Ripley as well does a fantastic Sigourney Weaver impression. I thought it was her at first. I had to check the cast list. It's not
to
her,
double check,
but she is really good. And there's a bit of trivia on the Alien 3 fandom page. The only bit from Gibson's version of Alien 3 that made it into the film was the characters having a barcode tattoo to identify them.
Wow.
One character in his script has that, and that is the only thing that was carried into the David Fincher version, so annoying.
I really don't like Alien 3
Very
at all.
I'm an apologist for it, but even like listening to this is just like, it's so much better. This is so much better. So if you've got the Audible subscription, it's on there. Give it a listen. It's really well acted. The sound design is brilliant, and it's just a really fucking good time.
Speaking of Audible subscription, you need to record your book. You're reading it, Gadget.
Yeah.
I know.
I'll buy it. And not even with a credit, I'll buy it cash money.
I was because it's been out for like 5 years now. I was tempted just to make it into a podcast and just release it week on week.
That's a fucking great idea.
Nice.
Think there's space on the Modern Escapism network for that?
Yeah, mate, there's space. There is space. That is highbrow, mate. The highest.
And we all have acting roles that we could maybe perform.
No, he wants to do it properly, mate.
We can all do voices.
He's got reverence for his own work. He's not an idiot.
Instead, can play the Americans.
Yep. There is one American that I did write in dialect. He does say y'all a lot. Anyway, but aside from that, just give us a listen. It's on Audible. It's really, really good. Or alternatively, there is a novelization of it, which I've literally just added to my Amazon wish list so someone can buy me that for Christmas. And there is
too late now, mate.
There is a graphic novel version as well. I think Dark Horse did.
Yeah, you can like I said, I read the Kindle version of the actual script, and they've novelized that a little bit, but not massively. It's still script.
Yeah, no, it was actually like a proper novel version came out last year.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, that's awesome.
I just looked on Audible, and in fact, all the Alien movies currently, and other stories as well around the Alien universe.
Some of the spin-offs are brilliant.
They're all included in Audible at the moment.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to.
Great.
I'm probably going to have to start listening once I finish what I'm listening to now, because based on a recommendation from Candy actually a little while ago, I'm listening to Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which is really good. I'm enjoying that so far.
But
Andy Weir still working?
Well, it's significantly better than the Artemis book that he put out, which I hated every second of. But I'll talk about that properly once I've finished. I'm only 6 chapters in.